The business and entrepreneurial world is still largely dominated by men, but that's changing fast. And our next guest says as women gain power, so will the companies and countries they work in. Maddie Dykewald is the author of Influence, How Women's Soaring Economic Power Will Transform Our World for the Better. Good to have you with us, Maddie.
Thank you, Christy. It's great to be here.
Well, you know, your book talks about this being a world that our great-grandmothers would probably never imagined would have happened or would recognize.
That's exactly right. I mean, think about it for a minute. If you go back not that long ago, about a little more than a century ago, women couldn't own property, they were property. They couldn't open a bank account, and they couldn't gain education, and that has really transformed itself quite dramatically.
So where are women right now in the workforce, though?
Well, it's a very good question to ask. I mean, we've seen incredible changes. After thousands of years of economic dependency, women have gained the education that has given them the opportunity to get out in the workforce, so that for the very first time in history, we see more women in the workforce than men. And we're beginning to see their earning powers increase quite dramatically. It's pretty phenomenal.
And women are becoming a force to be reckoned with as a group. I want you to talk about the quote from The Economist that really explains it.
Yes, and let me just put this into a bit of a context. I mean, it's not just one or two women, it is a critical mass of women. And The Economist reported that in the past decade, the #1 biggest influence on our economy has been not the economy of India or China or even the growth of global technology, but it's been women in the workforce.
That is pretty impressive. Now, in the book, you list the 3 stages of economic power. Explain those to us, and at what stage are women now?
Okay, well, I believe it's sort of like a pyramid, and the bottom of the pyramid is what I call survival. And of course, there's more women in survival than any other of the different stages of economic power. That's when people just kind of have the basics. They have the ability to put food on the table, a roof on their heads, clothing on their backs. And there's a lot of women there. The second stage is financial independence. And the good news is that lots of women are moving into this stage as well. And that's when women can do a little bit better. Maybe move to a better neighborhood, get their kids into private school, and even take some money and throw it at things that they really care about. And at the very top of the pyramid, of course, there's less women, and that's what I call influence. But the difference is today, the women who are in this stage of influence are doing something that women in the past never really did, and that is that they are making a huge effort to raise the boat for everyone so that all women can prosper, and that's great news.
The percentage of women, though, at the very top of that pyramid, relatively very small.
That's right.
I mean, Hillary Clinton said, you know, put a lot of cracks in that glass ceiling, but it hasn't been shattered. What has to change in order for women to dominate that top of the pyramid?
Well, you said it well, but the women have done a great job of getting to this middle place of financial independence, but influence, only about 3% of all the CEOs in the Fortune 500 companies are women, and that's almost pathetic when you think about it, especially in light of the fact that when you put more women in positions of power, companies tend to thrive. In fact, there's been studies that prove that if you add women onto corporate boards, the companies actually have a better return on equity. Now, that's impressive.
So maybe the companies need to recognize this in order to shatter that glass ceiling.
Absolutely.
Real quickly, running out of time, but you list the differences between men and women. Obviously, there are a lot of differences, but what about in the workforce?
Well, in the workforce, there are some differences that have been noted, and I hate to overgeneralize, so I mean, I think as the genders move closer together, they will, in fact, be able to share a lot of the same qualities, but what we see happening is that women have better ability to collaborate, better communication skills. They have a lot of the skills that are really highly valued in corporations today.
And this graphic is showing that women are more likely to put others' financial needs ahead of their own, and for women, money means security, whereas for men, the money means freedom. So different ways of thinking.
That's
One
right.
way is not necessarily better than the other. But unfortunately, we've run out of time. Maddie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Christy.
It's great talking to you again. The book is Influence, How Women's Soaring Economic Power Will Transform Our World for the Better.